Good morning, students. Today I will complete my discussion on penis and I will begin my discussion with the covering of the penis. Now, covering of the penis. So, the covering of the penis consists from superficial to deep, is the superficial fascia, deep fascia, thin superficial fascia, and the deep fascia. Now, this is the skin which is covering the body of the penis, and the skin is continuous from the anterior abdominal wall. Also, on the inferior aspect, it is continuous with the scrotum. Now, it is loose and doesn't adhere with the underlying deep fascia, and the skin present in the midline on its ventral aspect are median rashes, which is the developmental uh, which is the line of developmental fusion between the two genital swelling from which the penis develops. This median uh, uh, this median rashes extends on the scrotum, also in the perineum too. Now, if we made a cross section on the if we made a cross section of the body of the penis, we will see different coverings of the skin. Like this is the superficial covering is the skin. Now, skin also another point I should mention that it is devoid of hair follicles throughout its body, except at the root where we will get some hair follicles present. Now, underneath the skin, there is a loose areolar tissue which consists the superficial fascia, and underneath the superficial fascia, another component is the deep fascia. Now, if I made a cross section or sagittal section on the body of the penis, this structure I will encounter. So, this is a sagittal section on which I will show you. So, this is the skin, and this is the superficial fascia, the superficial penile fascia or fascia coelis, okay, of the penis, and this is your deep fascia, and sometimes it is called the Bach fascia. Now, in between skin and the deep fascia, there is a two structure present: superficial dorsal vein of penis and superficial dorsal artery of penis, right? And underneath the deep fascia, two structures: a single midline deep dorsal vein, a pair of dorsal arteries that lateral to the deep dorsal vein and lateral to the artery where the deep dorsal nerve of the penis is present. Now, this Bach fascia or deep fascia of penis covers the whole of the body along with the root, so except at the distal end where it ends as a blind end, forming a conical loop around the neck of the penis. Now, from the posterior aspect of the deep fascia, there is a midline septum present, and this septum is called the septum of penis, also called the septum pectiniformis. Now, this septum is complete on the posterior aspect of the dorsal aspect of it, but incomplete on the anterior aspect. Now, the deep fascia also extends within the corpora cavernosa and forming the cavernous spaces. You can see these cavernous spaces within the corpora cavernosa, through within which blood will ingress through this artery, that is a cavernous artery or the helican artery, which is a branch of the deep dorsal artery of the penis. Now, arterial supply of the penis is by the uh, artery to bulb, which is the branch of the urethral artery and which enters through corpora spongiosum. Now, another artery is the deep artery of the penis and the dorsal artery of the penis. These are the branches of the internal pudendal artery. Now, venous drainage of the penis is by the two veins, that's the superficial dorsal vein, this one, and which drains the skin and the prepuce of the skin. And another one is deep dorsal vein, this one. Deep dorsal vein will drain the glands and also the body and root of the penis. Now, the superficial dorsal vein drains into the great saphenous vein, maybe right or left, but the deep dorsal vein drains into the prostatic venous plexus. Thus, if any pathology like malignancy occurs within the glans, penis, or body of the penis, except the skin, excepting the skin, the malignancy may break the space into the vertebral venous plexus via the deep dorsal artery vein of the penis and subsequently prostatic venous plexus and the vertebral venous plexus. Now, in the last discussion, I have mentioned the root of the penis, which consists of the a pair of crus penis. This one is the crus penis. This one is the crus penis. This is the crus penis, which is attached on the inverted inferior margin of the inferior ischiopubic. This one and this one, and this is the root of the penis. This is the root of the penis. Okay. Sorry, bulb penis. This is the bulb penis. This forms the root of it. Now, bulb penis, you can see that it is attached on the perineal membrane. Here, it is attached on the perineal membrane, and this forming the root of the penis. And rest of the component is there. Now, the crus penis continues as a corpora cavernosa, and the bulb penis continues as a corpora spongiosum. In the next diagram, I will show you attachment of the crus penis and the bulb penis. Here in this diagram, you can see that it is attached on the inferior ischiopubic, the crus penis and the bulb penis on the perineal membrane, forming the root of the penis. Now, bulb penis continues as a corpora spongiosa, and it will end distally, forming the glans penis. Now, the crus penis continue as a corpora cavernosa and ends at the neck of the penis. Now, this portion is called the corona glandis. This is the neck of the penis. Okay, so this diagram clears the doubt. Okay, so this is the diagram which shows you that this portion is the root of the penis, and you can see the prostatic urethra continue as the penile urethra. Here, see the perineal membrane and on the superior aspect of the bulb penis, and then enters within the corpora spongiosum, right? And this diagram is about the root and the body of the penis I have discussed in the last class. Now, two ligaments which is attached on the penis, which helps to sustain it from the top. One is the fundiform ligament, and this fundiform ligament, and another one is suspension ligament. Now, the fundiform ligament attached above at the linea alba, and below by the sides of the penis. So let me draw it. Now, fundiform ligaments attach above and below the cider and continue with the fascia fin. Another one is the suspensory ligament of the penis. Another one is the suspensory ligament of penis, and this ligament attached over the as a triangular structure. This ligament is a triangular structure. The apex of it attached at the symphysis tubes like this, and base is uh, base is continuous around the corpora cavernosa and uh, continue with the deep fascia of the. So two ligaments which help to suspend the penis in a pedunculated manner. So one is suspensory ligament, another one is suspensory ligament triangular. The apex of it attached to the symphysis pubis, and the fundiform ligament, which the upper end of it attached with the linea alba, lower end continues with the fascia penis on the bone. Now coming to the nerve supply of the penis. Now the nerve supply of the penis, before we go into the nerve supply of the, I have earlier said that it is a male organ of copulation. Now this act of copulation or the sexual act consists of two parts. One is erection of the penis followed by the ejaculation of the semen. Now, this erection and ejaculation is a synergistic phenomena, integrated synergistic phenomena. First, there will be erection followed by the ejaculation. But sometimes there may be only erection, sometimes there is only ejaculation without any erection. But that suggests there is some disturbance between the integration of this phenomena. Why I am saying integrated phenomenon? Because this integration is done by the nerve supply on the penis. Now, nerve supply has got three components. One is somatic component, another one is parasympathetic, and the last one is the sympathetic component. Now, this somatic component is the sensation of the skin and the glands, and this sensation has been carried by the pudendal nerve. This sensation has been carried by the pudendal nerve, which supplies the glands, tissues, and skin over the body of the. Now, uh, with the sensation, there will be beginning of erection. Now, this erection will be done by the parasympathetic supply on the brain. Now, this parasympathetic supply from the pelvic flanking nerve, the preganglionic parasympathetic nerve from the pelvic flanking nerve via the nerve, which is also called the nerve ligamentous, which convey preganglionic fibers from S2, S3, and S4 segments of the spinal cord. Now, the postganglionic fibers will release the nitric oxide at its terminal end, nerve terminal end, at the cavernous arteries. Right now, with the release of nitric oxide, the cavernous artery will dilate. Thus, there will be increased ingress of blood through the cavernous artery within the corpora cavernosa. Thereby, the corpora cavernosa will be filled up with blood and become tight. Now, with, with as the fascia penis is a tight compartment, so the penis becomes tight and there will be erection. Now, with the erection followed by the ejaculation. Now, this ejaculation is mediated by the sympathetic nerve from the L1 segment of the spinal cord via the superior hypogastric plexus. Now, this sympathetic supply on the penis not only not only uh, this supply is not only present on the penis, also it supplies the vas deferens, also the seminal vesicles, now the ejaculator and the prostate. These structures, there will be contraction on these structures. Also, the L1 segment supplies the trigone of the blood. So the trigone muscle of the bladder also contracts. Now with the contraction of vas and all that part, there will be flow of semen to the channels, and subsequently it will be released within the prostatic part of uterus. But with the contraction of the trigonal muscle of the bladder, the prostatic, the opening of the prostatic, the bladder urethral opening will be closed with the contraction of the trigonal muscle. Now, there will be no retrograde ejaculation of the semen. There will be forward ejaculation of the semen through the rest part of the uterus. Now, with the sympathetic stimuli, there will be ejaculation and there will be subsequent release of the parasympathetic outflow within the penis, and the arterial channel will begin to contract with the sympathetic outflow. And with the sympathetic outflow, arterial channels constrict and blood within the cavernous space suddenly gushed out or egress from it, and there will be flaccidity of it. So this is a integrated synergistic phenomena. There will be erection followed by ejection. There is a neurovascular phenomena of penis, which we always see, uh, right? So this ends my discussion on on the on the penis part. Now we'll start discussions on the scrotum. Now, scrotum is an integumental pouch or present on the lower aspect of the anterior abdominal wall, and this will help to protect the testis within it. Also, this will decrease the temperature of the environment of the testis, and thus help in spermatogenesis. So it will not only protect the testis from external environment, also there is important function is such that it helps to decrease the total temperature around the testis, and thus helps in spermatogenesis. Now, it is formed by the fusion of the two genital swelling, and the fusion line has been marked by this median rapid. The fusion line has been marked by this median rapid. Now this median rapid extends ventrally on the ventral surface of the penis. I have already said. Also, it extends in the perineum of of human man. Right now, this median rapid extends internally, forming a scrotal septum, which will separate the two scrotal the scrotal sac into two compartments. Within each compartment, there will be testis and spermatic cord and its component present. Right now, this medial scrotal septum will will produce two compartments within the scrotum. Now, what are the coverings of the scrotum? Now, the covering of the scrotum extends from the anterior abdominal. Now, the outside covering is the skin, right? Now, the skin is the outside covering. Now, skin is uh, thin, elastic, and corrugated. Now, also pigmented, presents with multiple hair follicles and hair on it after which is present after puberty. Now, this corrugation is seen as it is adhered with the underlying dartos muscles on with it, right? Now, underlying dartos muscles, the skin is attached to it, thus it will help in contraction of the scrotum. Thus, it will help in contraction of the scrotum. Also, it is present with the sweat glands. So, with the sweating, the temperature within the scrotum decreases, also helps in the spermatogenesis. Now, the dartos muscles are the continuation of the subcutaneous layer of the anterior abdominal wall. Now, this on the anterior abdominal wall, the dartos muscle continue as a fascia of Camper and fascia of Camper and fascia of Coles and Scarpa, and in the perineum, it is continued as a fascia of Scarpa. The dartos muscle in the anterior abdominal wall continue as a fascia of Camper and fascia of Scarpa, and behind it is continued as a Foley's fascia in the perineum. Now, it has been supplied by the sympathetic nerve, which helps in contraction of the dartos muscle, and thus it will to uh, help to uh, uh, help to uh, corrugate the skin, also the release of the skin, stretching of the skin. Now, after dartos muscle, there is the external spermatic muscle. So, let me point you out. So, this is the skin, now followed by the dartos muscle. And you can see this is the subcutaneous tissue on the anterior abdominal wall, which is called the fascia of Camper and fascia of Scarpa. And in the perineum, it is continued as a fascia folds. Now, after dartos muscle, inside there is an external spermatic fascia. Now, this external spermatic fascia from the superficial inguinal ring, it is originated from the external oblique. So, this is the external oblique from where the external spermatic fascia begins from the superficial inguinal ring. Now, hemispheric muscle and hemispheric muscle, and which is the degenerated part of the internal oblique muscle from the middle of from the upper surface of the inguinal ligament. It originates from the upper surface of the inguinal ligament in the middle third of. Now from there, U-shaped ring or U-shaped loop of the hemispheric muscle originates. U-shaped loop of hemispheric muscles originates and surround the scrotum and the spermatic cord, right? Now, hemispheric muscles help as it is sympathetic supply helps to contract within the scrotum. Now, it will pull the testis up to the deep superficial inguinal ring and thus produce the plugging of the superficial inguinal ring. This this phenomena helps to prevent the uh, inguinal hernia. Now, after kinesthetic muscle, there is the internal spermatic fascia. Now, internal spermatic fascia is the part from the fascia transversally from the deep inguinal vein, and then there is a covering of the tunica vaginalis, the parietal layer and the visceral layer of tunica vaginalis, which will cover the testis. So, so this are the covering or and the layers the uh, of the uh, layers of the scrotum, and this is the covering of the spermatic cord, and here at this level, and this is also the external spermatic fascia, kinesthetic muscle fascia, internal spermatic fascia present around this, and then the different parts, that is the vas deferens, testicular veins, testicular artery. These are the components of the spermatic cord, and also the pampiniform plexus of veins, obliterated processes vaginally present within the spermatic cord and the cover. But here, the in the scrotum, we have the darkose muscle and the skin over the over, right? So this this the arterial supply is from the superficial and deep external pudendal artery and venous drainage within the great surface vein and internal ear vein. Now the nerve supply is important, that the anterior one-third of the scrotum has been supplied by the genital branch of the femoral nerve. The posterior two-thirds will be supplied by the scrotal branches of the pudendal nerve and posterior femoral cutaneous nerve, the perennial branch of posterior, which is the S3 so the anterior ones are the pudendal nerve, the genital branch of genital femoral nerve, which are carrying the fibers from the L1 segment, and the posterior two-thirds of the scrotum, which is supplied by the posterior scrotal branch of the pudendal nerve, that carries the fibers from the S3 and S4 segment. So there is a break in the continuity of the nerve segments in the anterior to one third and posterior two third of the scrotum. So these break suggest that there is also from this part there is the anterior axial line of lower limb starts. So limb buds develop from this area. So this is an interesting area of the scrotal nerve supply. I think you will find more interest when you look into it, right? So this uh, completes my discussion on the remaining part of the penis and scrotum. I have completed all the aspects of the male external genitalia. Please go through my videos, and if there is any problem you find, just ask. Feel free to ask. Thank you. Well,